One of the most common questions I get as a priest is, Father, how do I pray when I don't feel like praying? Indeed, this is a difficult position to be in. Our chosen psalm today, on the other hand, shows David fully engaged in prayer. I give you thanks, O Lord, with all my heart. So says David in the opening line. And as people today would say, sana all. But let us not be fooled or discouraged. For if we move back just one psalm earlier in Psalm 137, we find David just like many of us, unable to pray. He says, how shall we sing the Lord's song? The great King David, the scribe writer of hundreds of psalms, who seems to never run out of poems and songs for God, finds himself speechless and unable to address the Lord in prayer. See, even the best of us goes through seasons of drought in our prayer life. Even the holiest among us, and perhaps even more so, experience moments or even long periods where they are not able to talk to the Lord and listen to His voice. So if we find ourselves in our prayer lives dry, take comfort in the fact that it happens to all of us and that you are not alone. Dryness is not the Lord punishing you or ignoring you. But looking deeper, David also hints at what we can do to help us invigorate a struggling prayer life. And this is to remember God's loving kindness. Loving kindness is quite simply who God is. It is His generous and readily available mercy for all of us. His constant kindness and benevolence towards His children. And to reflect on this, David looks back in his long history with God. He remembers all the times in his life when the Lord saved him purely out of mercy. He reflects on all the instances when the Lord was faithful to His promise, even when He Himself was unfaithful and utterly disobedient. David also exalts the Word and its role in reminding him of God's loving kindness. Word here first of all means sacred scripture, God's living word that when read with openness and humility can lead to a genuine encounter with the divine. But we can also take this to mean the faith testimony of others. When we find ourselves lost in the dark, it is truly uplifting to hear how God moves in the lives of others. So, when we find ourselves unable to pray, let us call to mind God's goodness and love that He has proven to us time and time again, be it in Scripture, through the testimony of others, or in our own experiences. God always shows Himself ever present and faithful to our covenant with Him. Let us trust that as much as we seek God, He actually seeks us even more. May God's loving kindness be the spark we need to move our hearts to thanksgiving, praise, and dialogue with Him.